Good day. This is the second video that we are making. It is a word sum in trigonometry, solving right angle triangles. To do any right angle triangle, solve any right angle triangle, you need to remember your ratios. This rhymes SOHCAHTOA, sine is O over H, cos is A over H, and tan is O over A. And then I usually use the plan to solve any right angle triangles. Here we have a small picture, a sketch of a certain situation, and here the explanation of what's going on in this picture. A boat is lying at anchor, and the length of the anchor cable is 13.5 meters. If the angle between the anchor cable and the horizontal seabed is 37 degrees, what is the depth of the water to the nearest meter? Sketching a diagram might prove to be very useful. In a very good exam paper, usually we should have a sketch like this. I have seen papers where they only ask this, which is unfair, because a lot of people don't even know how it works with boats and cables and anchors and stuff like that. So this is a good question as it stands now. Here is our boat. There is the anchor cable of 13.5 meters. There is the bed at the bottom of the sea. And there's the 37 degrees, the angle that this cable makes. So that's all this information. And then the question is asking how deep is the sea. That takes some understanding from you. This dotted line didn't have to be here. The depth of the sea will be any place here. So that's the perpendicular depth straight from the water to the bottom. You can work it out everywhere, there, anywhere you want. But I worked it out right underneath the boat. There is my right angle triangle, and I'm going to solve this depth. Now, what we usually do is we put letters on the corner of my triangle. I put a B there, S, and an A over here. To work out the sum in trigonometry, there's a lot of basic stuff that you need to know. Firstly, I mentioned in the beginning that you must know how the SOHCAHTOA works. That tells you that sine is O over H, cos is A over H, and tan is O over A. I use the plan to work out anything in a right angle triangle, and we'll see now how it works. When I do these sums, I write down the word plan. I put down a line on my line, leave a gap, put the equal, and put a fraction. The first thing I write down is the angle that I use. I'm going to write down here. Then I go and stand at the 37 degrees, and I look what sides are applicable. I've got the hypotenuse here, and I've got the opposite I'm looking for. So opposite and hypotenuse, I go into SOHCAHTOA. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. That tells me I must write sine over here. Then I go back to my ratio and I see what does sine really say. He says I must use opposite over hypotenuse, and that I write in here. Then, standing in my triangle, I replace my opposite with BS. I'm going to put the BS over there. And I replace my hypotenuse with 13.5, and then I'm ready to go. Now I start with my sum. I say in triangle BSA. I fill everything in like I told you. I put in my angle first, then I put in my sine, then I put in the ratio, and then I substitute whatever the ratio represents in. Now I've got to solve for BS. So here I now have a normal algebra equation with fractions. I'm going to times by the LCD, which is 13.5. That's going to give me 13.5 sine 37 equals BS. Then I just push this into my calculator. Then I get my answer, BS equals 8.12. In the beginning of the sum, they told us to find the depth of the water to the nearest meter. So now I give them a word sentence answer with the depth of the water to the nearest meter. Then I write the depth of the water is 8 meters.